The year was 1929, and despite the looming economic depression, Windsor was in the midst of completing construction of the Ambassador Bridge, a state-of-the-art marvel of infrastructure at the time. And just west of the bridge lie new residential developments on Indian Road. Yet 80 years later, the neighborhood looks like a demilitarized zone. Vacant, dilapidated, boarded up, fenced-in homes everywhere. We may be in an economic recession, but why is Indian Road in such terrible shape? Why is our municipal government allowing this to happen?
Bought all these homes for plans to expand their business, which is their enhancement project. And the city said, we don't want you to tear the houses down. We don't like your enhancement project. So really it's become somewhat of a war between the city and the Ambassador Bridge.
Well, it's 75, almost 80 years old. How long do you think it's going to last?
Demolition in this area is indefinite.
And they've got a bylaw in place right now that's renewed once a year in about 2 weeks. That prevents any building permits going on. So this is why these houses are boarded up. Because there's also another bylaw in place that says if you don't live in your place for a year, you've got to board it up or tear it down. The first bylaw says you can't tear it down. So you've got them all boarded up.
When the interim control bylaw came forward, I supported it. Not to fight the bridge. I supported it because this area has been in need of some economic revitalization for years. I went to high school at Forster right over there. I had many friends that lived in this very neighborhood. It's always been on the downturn. That's why I supported it, to allow for some financial incentives for development here to revitalize. I didn't support it to fight the bridge. And that's why once the study's complete, including the heritage study, I have come public saying, let's tear the homes down. Because for me, it was never about the Ambassador Bridge. It was always about revitalizing a neighborhood that I'm from.
But the city is listening to the loud minority. The loud minority are those small petition groups that don't like nothing in their backyard. So they're fighting the bridge guy.
Why have I waited this long? I really wanted to see what the heritage study was going to say about the land these homes sit on. And I honestly, in my heart of hearts, don't feel there's any heritage value at this point. And I want the homes torn down, and I want something to be done on the lands. I mean, do I agree with the enhancement project? No. But you know what? My biggest concern right now is the neighborhood and getting those families back into the West End so we thrive again.
But the people with money have power, right? So what do you think the rules are to billionaires versus millionaires? You think they got a different set of rules? Like 1,000 of them extra? Okay, this guy's got so much money he can wait. He can put everything to work and wait. Okay? The city of Windsor goes bankrupt, fighting him. Because why? He's still in business. Every day he's got bridge trucks going, one to the bank for him, one to his lawyers, and one to the government for taxes. That's every day. He gets his shot at more money. So he can wait the city out, sue them, sue their ass until they run out of money.
He's a multi-billionaire, isn't he?
Yeah, you got it right, billionaire.
Okay, so they still have to come to City Council for approval to demolish these homes. Now, City Council will not approve these homes unless there's some sort of plan for the land that the homes sit on. Right now, they would need permission from City Council. However, City Council can be trumped by the federal government at any time, should the federal government agree with the project. It's my understanding right now they don't.
Look at a bridge. You better put your money where it's not going to be the other.
You know, when we first looked at it and it was a community concern, which had environmental prongs to it. mainly the traffic that's just on the other side of these homes and what happens when it's backed up. The other concern is quite simply traffic and traffic management from this perspective. We already have a ton of traffic going down here on Church to that bridge, and there's got to be a way to feed the traffic to a new span better, because right now it's not working. And although the province has announced their Windsor Essex Parkway, it doesn't come to the Ambassador Bridge. They're not only a fire hazard, but they're a safety hazard in general. There are homeless people. When it's cold, they've been breaking in and sleeping in there. And some of the homeless folks will have a small fire in the home, thinking that it's a way to keep warm. There has been incidents where there's been some youth that have broken in and have had parties in the house. There's been incidents where there's been people doing drugs in the houses. We've already had all of that. That's why the Ambassador Bridge put the fences up, and they hired elite security. So, I mean, they're trying not to look like the bad guys in this. I'm trying not to look like the bad guy in this. And we're at the point now where it's time for the houses to come down because it's a safety hazard, not just fire, but security for the neighborhood. Our schools in the West End in the last year have dropped significantly in their population. For example, Brock School has gone down by over 30% in population. People are moving out of this area, and it's greatly affecting the area. And we need to start acting, and we need to start acting now. At this point, I represent the area. I would like to work with the bridge company to get the homes torn down and to have a use for the land that's acceptable to the community. For example, on Indian Road, I would love to see them partner with the university and St. Clair College and build that berm. The berm would be fully landscaped. I can't say that from an environmental perspective. It's 100%, but you know what? A landscape berm over here is a lot better than what you see today. And it could actually cushion some of the noise. Maybe not the pollution, but certainly the noise.
As part of the plaza expansion, a green buffer zone is planned to give the residents some space between the homes and the expanded plaza. Distinct from the enhancement project, the Ambassador Bridge is creating a green buffer zone. The goal of the Ambassador Bridge is to make the buffer zone as environmentally and aesthetically pleasing as possible for the area residents. The Ambassador Bridge is working with the University of Windsor and the Green Corridor. The green buffer area will mitigate potential impacts from the plaza on the homes to the west.
Indeed, history has repeated itself. The year the Ambassador Bridge was built, Windsor was entering a terrible depression. 80 years later, we find ourselves slipping into the same kind of economic collapse. They needed a bridge then to keep the market afloat, just as we need one now. It is apparent that good infrastructure is a vital investment during tough economic times. Canada's economy, especially Ontario, relies heavily on exporting goods. The Ambassador Bridge connects our busiest trade route with Canada's biggest trade partner. So what's taking our government so long?